Hi, I'm Amy Stasiecwicz, and welcome to The Minutes. Thanks for listening today. It's great to have you along on The Minutes for the week of November 17, 2025. This is a City of Thunder Bay podcast. The Minutes takes a look at what happened at Thunder Bay City Council this past week. You can find The Minutes wherever you get your podcasts, including our YouTube channel and our website, thunderbay.ca/theminutes. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. This week we had the Quality of Life Standing Committee meeting. This week's meeting covered a wide range of topics, everything from the Tbaytel Multiplex, affordable access to recreation and transit, and a new mobile safety and security response pilot. We'll first break down the highlights from the Quality of Life Standing Committee meeting, and later I'll be joined by two different guests. First, I'll be chatting with Kelly Robertson, Commissioner of Community Services, who will give us insight into the proposed operating model for the new Tbaytel Multiplex. Then I'll be joined by Kristen Lovato-Dave, who will talk a bit about the Get Involved survey for the 2026-2027 capital budget. So let's dive in. Like all council and standing committee meetings, this meeting began with a land acknowledgement before getting into the agenda. The first item discussed was an operating model report for the new Tbaytel Multiplex. If you didn't hear the news, Tbaytel has been awarded exclusive naming rights for the new indoor turf facility, which has an anticipated opening in fall 2026. Administration is asking council to endorse a city-run operating model for the Tbaytel Multiplex. Administration is asking council to endorse a city-run operating model for the Tbaytel Multiplex. They want this model brought forward for official approval, with all the financial impacts built directly into the 2026 operating budget. Any required bylaws would go to council for final sign-off. The multiplex is expected to be a busy place, over 213,000 visits a year. The multiplex is going to serve everyone: soccer, football, lacrosse, cricket, ultimate frisbee, baseball, rugby, summer camps, drop-ins, school programs, community events, and meetings. Peak season is going to be mid-October through mid-April, especially evenings and weekends. So choosing the right operating model is really important. The city runs major recreation facilities already, and the facility user groups are confident in the city's ability to deliver fair access, affordable pricing, and reliable standards for safety and maintenance. Running the multiplex would require roughly 12 new staff, including at least 5 new full-time positions. Revenues in the first full year are expected to hit $1.4 to $1.6 million, with expenses around $1.35 million. The city also has policies, systems, and maintenance standards ready to plug into the new facility. However, it's been brought up that marketing could be a challenge due to the city's current capacity. Administration is currently exploring solutions to support. So how do the key facility user groups feel? Well, they prefer a city-run model compared to a third-party operator. The key users of this facility trust the city to keep user fees fair, protect access for youth, seniors, and low-income residents, provide inclusive programming, and maintain strong accessibility and safety standards. Concerns from these groups are mainly around the city's turf experience, marketing limitations, and competing priorities with the broader municipal budget. But overall, they see these risks as manageable. Their suggestion is a community access committee to keep users involved in decision-making. Speaking of third-party operations, they can offer benefits like shared risk and sometimes lower costs. However, third-party operations also require lengthy contract negotiations and ongoing oversight. And most importantly, at the end of the day, the user groups don't want this option, especially if it's a private, profit-driven operator. Their concerns include higher user fees, less community access, and misalignment with the city's recreation goals. No matter who runs the Tbaytel Multiplex, it has been decided there will be an annual contribution of $650,000 into the reserve fund for long-term maintenance and renewal. This protects the asset and aligns with the city's long-term capital strategy. Ultimately, a city-operated multiplex is what the key users want. The Standing Committee endorsed this recommendation to have the Tbaytel Multiplex as a city-operated model. Financing will be included in the 2026 budget for Council to approve. This decision also needs to be ratified at City Council. The next item on the agenda was a report from the Recreation and Culture Division and the Community Services Department, recommending a new pilot program which offers access to more affordable recreation and transit. The Affordable Access Program started back in July 2023 as a 3-year pilot designed to lower the financial barriers that make recreation programs and transit hard to access for low-income adults. The recommendation to the Standing Committee is to extend this pilot program from June 30th, 2026 all the way to December 31st, 2026. An extra 6 months of support for these people. The committee was also asked to forward all the necessary bylaws to City Council so they can make the extension official. So let's talk about how people use this current pilot program. Participants may receive a $350 recreation credit and a half-price adult monthly bus pass. So how are people eligible for this program? The eligibility is based on low income cutoff plus 20%. They must live in the city of Thunder Bay. They must be 18 plus years of age for recreation credit and ages 25 to 59 for the bus pass usage. These individuals also cannot be receiving transit assistance through OW, ODSP, or Passport for the bus pass only. Recreation credits can be used for city programs, memberships, admissions, rentals, including birthday parties, and activities booked through Perfect Mind. So has the pilot been working? Here is what has been reported in terms of trends and participation. Participation has grown 35% from year 1 to year 2. As of November 1st, 2025, 93 people used the discounted bus pass, and 133 people have used their recreation credit. Awareness is growing through outreach to social service agencies and a strong uptake among parents connected through ProKids. So in short, the program is working and expanding. So what are these participants saying about the pilot? After the second full year, a survey went out. 36 people responded, and more than 98% want the program to continue past the pilot phase. Participants identified the following top benefits: access to programs they couldn't otherwise afford, ability to save for essentials, improved quality of life, better physical and mental health, and reliable transit for work, school, and medical appointments. The pilot sounds like it has been an overall success, but let's talk dollars for a moment. The annual program budget is $231,600. Participation is still below the cap, so there's room to grow without extra cost. A 6-month extension requires $12,000 in administration fees. This would be included in the 2026 operating budget. So why did the Affordable Access Program pilot start in the first place? The program was created after consultation showed a clear gap in support for low-income adults who weren't covered by ProKids or other subsidies. Council approved the pilot in 2022, aligning it with the provincial Everyone Plays framework and the transit fare strategy. The pilot program is working so far. Participation is climbing. People are seeing real life-changing benefits, and extending the pilot to the end of 2026 gives everyone, participants, administrators, and council more stability and better data to guide its future. After discussion, the Standing Committee endorsed the extension. It will go to City Council for ratification on December 2nd. Finally, the city's Quality of Life Standing Committee was asked to give feedback and endorse the Mobile Safety and Security Response Pilot so it can be added to the proposed 2026 city budget. So what exactly is this pilot? The city is responding to continued safety concerns, especially in transit terminals, on buses, and around public buildings. There have been reoccurring incidents which don't always require police, but they do need proper attention. Administration then provided the proposed solution to the standing committee, which would be a mobile team of municipal law enforcement officers that can move through the city's public spaces. All officers would receive specialized training, including communication techniques, de-escalation strategies, mental health first aid, and ongoing refresher courses as needed. The emphasis is on talking first, calming situations, and using enforcement as a last resort. When necessary, officers would be able to issue trespass notices. To run this pilot, the city estimates an annual cost of about $770,000, which covers 6 full-time officer positions, 2 field supervisors, and training and equipment, which is around $25,000. This funding will be presented as part of the 2026 operating budget for council to consider. That's it for the Quality of Life Standing Committee overview. I will soon be joined by Kelly Robertson to discuss the operating model for the Tbaytel Multiplex. There's lots of buzz around town about the Tbaytel Multiplex that is currently under construction. This new turf facility will be a game changer for our community. Once the facility construction is complete, the next step is opening the doors, but someone will need to run the day-to-day maintenance and operations. Kelly Robertson, Commissioner of Community Services, is joining me today to discuss the operating model for the Tbaytel Multiplex. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Hi, Amy.
Hi. So I'll just rhyme off some questions and you can give us some more insight. The Tbaytel Multiplex is expected to see more than 213,000 visits a year. Why is choosing the right operating model so important?
Well, that's a great question. We want the facility to be successful. And in my opinion, successful means that it's used to its optimum availability, that it's used by all ages and abilities in our community, and we also bring visitors to town to participate in events and tournaments. We want it to be financially successful. We want this facility to continue to operate for 50 plus years. So These are some of my feelings about what makes a successful facility. We want it to be inclusive. I think I mentioned all ages and abilities. This is really a community treasure that we want all in the community, even spectators are in our visits. You know, there's provision for spectators to enjoy activities in our facilities, and that's an important activity for parents and grandparents and others. So this is going to be a facility for everybody.
Yeah, I'm personally very excited about it. So the key user groups have expressed a preference for a city-run model instead of a private operator. What are some of the reasons these groups feel they want the city to manage the multiplex?
Right. Well, some of the support for a city-operated approach are, I guess, confidence in the city's ability to operate and manage the facility. I believe that the key end users are satisfied with the city's demonstration to adhere to certain maintenance standards and to protect the asset and to ensure that we're meeting all legislated requirements. I believe the key end users had confidence in the city's ability to make sure that we're providing equitable access to the facility and that it's going to be accessible and inclusive to all. I think that there were some comments received about, questioning some of the benefits of a third party, especially a private sector operator, given the motives are a little bit different if you're a municipal or not-for-profit or a for-profit type of operator. So I think, those were some of the concerns I received about a third-party operation. And I think those are some of the things I recall from comments from our key end users.
Okay, wonderful information. So approximately how many staff would be needed to run this multiplex?
Yeah, based on the current draft operating plan, there's an estimate of 12 plus FTEs. The majority of these are what we would consider non-affiliate staff. These are our frontline service attendants and people who help people navigate through the facility, to help maintain it, to help answer questions, and also the concessions. So that number includes an assumption of a city-operated concession as well. And there's also some full-time staff that would be required to open this new facility. But by and large, most of those FTEs are kind of the non-affiliate type of employee.
Yeah, lots of people to make sure it's a success.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell the listeners a bit about the proposed Community Access Committee?
Ever since I've been involved in this project from, February 2017, we've always worked fairly closely, I think, with the key end users to understand their needs and understand, what their anticipated usage will be of the facility. So the concept of the Community Access Committee is creating a committee that keeps that engagement going, perhaps in a more formal type of fashion. And so we're going to continue to consult with our key end users on what would be the terms of reference of that committee, what would be the representation that they want to see on that committee. And I expect there'll be other structured and maybe impromptu types of engagement activities as well. So the committee is one part of a community engagement approach, but I think there are other things that we can do to also engage with users and or future users or residents around that facility.
Wonderful information. So is there anything else you want the listeners to know about the suggested operating model for this new multiplex?
Well, our next steps is we're going to be going to council and making a recommendation based on the endorsement of the Standing Committee Quality of Life last night, and then incorporating in the information that we heard from our key end users. So I'm hopeful that council will approve the recommendation, and then we will get going. We have a lot of work to do. We want to get going. We want to see the facility open on time and have everything in place and have a really good allocation of use in the facility, have the support of our community on how we're going to allocate the space in that facility. We have a lot of work to do. We're excited. We want to get going. So I'm very hopeful that council will approve our recommendation.
Awesome. It's always exciting hearing about the plans for the Tbaytel Multiplex. I personally, like I said, I can't wait to see how it turns out. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you, Amy.
I'm now joined in the Minute Studio by Kristen Lovato-Day, Policy and Research Analyst for Corporate Services, to talk about the Get Involved survey for the proposed 2026-2027 capital budget. Every year, the budget is a hot topic of discussion. The city is looking for residents to share their ideas and feedback, and my guest today will explain how you get involved. Hey, Kristen.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so it's budget time.
Sure is.
Yeah. The proposed capital budget was released to the public on November 18th. So where can people find the budget document to read over?
So there's a whole bunch of places that we made it public. So it's on our website if you go to thunderbay.ca/budget. It's also posted on our Get Involved site. So you can link to it there with the survey, which is super important. And it's also in the council agenda for the November 24th capital budget deliberation meeting. So you can find it there too on our website.
Okay, amazing. So lots of places that people can check it out. Is there anything different about the budget timeline this year?
So the capital budget has been released for 2026 and 2027. So it's the first time that we're doing a 2-year capital budget. And that's so that we can plan a little bit better and have a little bit more stability in being able to award those contracts and getting that capital and infrastructure work done.
So this is the first time you're doing a 2-year?
Sure is, yep.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is the second year we've split the budget. So this is the second time that the capital budget has come out before the operating budget, but it is the first time that we've done a 2-year capital budget.
Interesting. Yeah. So you were talking about the Get Involved page. Can you tell us about the Get Involved survey that's currently happening and what types of questions people can expect?
Yeah, for sure. So we're looking for some answers about readability. First, because we are doing a new 2-year and we've changed the layout in the last couple of years. So readability, we're kind of looking for prioritization for some of the projects that we have going on, where residents want to see their money going. So that's what we're looking for. We're also piloting a new form of communication this year. So we have a new email address. So your.budget@thunderbay.ca. So you can send us an email there if you find that we're not asking the right questions on the survey and there's something else you want to share with us. If you don't have enough space on the survey and you want to give more thoughts, please feel free to email us. We're piloting that out for this budget season, see how that goes.
That's great. You want everyone's feedback. So why is it so important to get the public's feedback when it comes to the capital budget?
So the capital budget and the operating budget, they're your budget. We work for the residents of the community, and it's really important to get feedback. We don't know what the priorities are if you don't let us know. So we're hoping that we'll get tons of feedback this year.
Hopefully, yes. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this helps spread the word.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So the Get Involved survey is online. Can people fill out hard copies of the survey if they don't have access to online? And if so, where can they get those?
They sure can. We have them available as well as a hard copy of the capital budget at City Hall here. We also have hard copies of the surveys available at all the library branches in the city of Thunder Bay.
Wonderful. Yeah. And what's the deadline for people to fill out the survey?
So the survey closes at the end, so the 11:59 p.m. on November 25th. So if you could get your feedback in as soon as possible, and then a report will be coming to council for that information before they ratify the decision on December 2nd.
Okay, wonderful. And so what are the next steps for the capital budget process? How can residents follow along?
So we are updating our website. We are updating the Get Involved site with everything when we do next steps. Council, it'll be presented to council at a deliberation meeting, special committee of the whole on November 24th. Which is next week. And then it will be open for more feedback to both your councillors and to us. And then it goes to City Council for final ratification on December 2nd.
Okay, so just a couple more weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. And so when is everything finalized for the capital budget?
So once it's ratified, then it's finalized.
Okay.
It will come back just to confirm for the 2027 after the 2026 election, but we'll be able to start making progress on some of those projects and doing the procurement a little bit earlier for especially the 2026 projects.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Kristen, for taking the time to come and talk to us.
Thanks for having me.
A reminder to our listeners to visit thunderbay.ca/getinvolved to share your feedback on the 2026-2027 capital budget public survey before the end of day on November 25th. That's it for this week's episode of The Minutes. A big thank you to both our guests, Kelly Robertson and Kristen Lovato Day, for joining us. And as always, thanks for listening. If you want information about City Council, agendas, or minutes, visit thunderbay.ca/council. You can watch The Minutes every week wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, on our website at thunderbay.ca/The Minutes. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. I'm Amy. Thanks again for listening to The Minutes. Have a great week.